Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your favorite Mr. GST's lectures. This is your Professor C. Vishnuvardhan. We were discussing chapter number 5, time of supply and value of supply, right? So yesterday we are done with value of supply, section 15. Hope you have revised and did the homework. Please switch on the videos. So time of supply, what are the sections we have discussed already? Section number 12 and 13.
13.
Value of supply,
15.
section 15.
15.
Right. So according to section 15, what is the value of supply?
Transaction.
Value of supply is nothing but the
Transaction value.
yes, transaction value. Transaction value means what?
Price actually paid and payable.
Price actually paid or payable by the recipient to the supplier. But that price, that is that transaction value, will be treated as value of supply only when
Recipient and supplier
Are not
supplier and
related.
recipient are not related. Price is the
Sole consideration.
Sole consideration. What do you mean by price is the sole consideration?
Monetary.
Only monetary consideration. Exactly. Only monetary. My voice is clear, no? Shall I
Yes, sir.
continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we are done with chapter number 5, time of supply and value of supply. So now we are moving into the next chapter, chapter number 6, a very, very important topic, input tax credit. Not only from exam point of view, but also for your articleship in your practice. This topic will help you a lot when you are dealing with GST. So let us proceed with the topic input tax credit, chapter number 6. So take your study material, chapter number 6, input tax credit. First of all, what do you mean by input tax credit? What do you mean by input tax credit? If I ask what is ITC, then you will say input tax credit. So what is input tax credit?
tax paid on purchase.
Tax paid on?
Purchase. Inward supply.
Yes, purchase, inward supply. Okay. What you will do with that?
ITC.
We will adjust it with the output tax.
We'll adjust it with the output tax, we'll set off the liability and pay the balance to the government. Okay? So simple, you are purchasing something for business, and when you're purchasing something for business, you have paid GST on it. You have paid GST on it. So the government is saying, because you are purchasing this for business purpose, whatever the GST you have paid on purchases, that I will give you as refund. The government says, I'll give you as refund. So what we will do when we purchase something, the purchases we will debit, correct? When we are debiting the purchases, generally what we were doing, whatever the tax we have paid on the purchases, we were also adding it to the cost of the raw material. But now because government has promised us that they will refund the GST paid on purchases, what we will do, we will create an asset, something receivable from the government, yes or no? So that asset name is what? ITC, input tax credit. So what will be the journal entry, my dear friends? Purchase account debit, input tax credit account debit to bank, correct? Suppose if you purchase an asset, I'm purchasing plant and machinery for business. Can I take ITC?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because you're purchasing something for the purpose of business. You can take ITC. So what will be the journal entry now? Asset account debit, ITC account debit to bank account.
Bank.
Same way, you are purchasing services. A chartered accountant is coming and auditing your company. So what you will do again, whether it is an input service for you, the services received by you are nothing but
Yes.
something related to your business. So again, what you will do, you debit that particular input service and ITC account debit to bank. Is it clear, my dear friends? Is it clear? So that means that no matter whether we purchase raw material, capital good or input services, the GST paid on that will be taken as ITC. Is that clear? So now the point is here, that is a basic understanding what we have on input tax credit. Now we are going to discuss in this chapter in detail the conditions when you can avail ITC, when you cannot avail ITC, like what are the conditions to be met for availing ITC, and in certain cases, even though you fulfill all the conditions, you cannot avail ITC. So in detail, we'll be discussing something related to input tax credit. Am I clear? Shall we proceed? So let us proceed with chapter number 6. So input tax credit, a very, very, very important chapter. So in this chapter, we are going to deal with section 16, 17, and 18. But because this is being a fast track batch, what I will do is completely we'll discuss section 16. In section 17, we will discuss only section 17, subsection 5. Any idea about what is section 17, subsection 5? No idea, Sajji. Block the credits. Yes, exactly. Block the credits. Section 18 will not be discussing in the fast track batch. Fine. So our agenda will be section 16 and 17, subsection 5, and we'll be discussing chapter 9, payment of tax concepts, 49, 49A, 49B, and certain rules related to that. So that altogether, whatever the relevant areas for solving problems with respect to input tax credit will be covering. Fine. So without wasting further time, let us proceed with section 16. So first, understand what is input tax credit, my dear friends. What is input tax credit? Input tax credit is nothing but the GST paid on inward supplies, that is purchases.
Purchases.
Whether it is goods or service or capital goods, it doesn't matter. So on that, whatever the GST has been paid, you can claim it as ITC. That means you can record it as asset and you use it for setting off your GST liability in future. So whatever is the tax payable on sales that you have to pay to the government, while paying that to the government, you set off whatever is ITC balance available with you and you pay balance to the government. Right? Okay, let us go with first section number 16. So section number 16, let us understand subsection 1. There are 4 subsections, my dear friends, here, 4 subsections. So in this subsection 1, eligibility for taking ITC, simple conditions, but only thing you should know about these conditions, that's all. Very simple, not that complicated. Here and there, 1 or 2 complicated points we'll discuss. Apart from that, remaining points are very, very simple. Only thing is you should have got some knowledge about them, that's all. Fine. First of all, who can avail ITC? Who can avail ITC?
Register.
So, first of all, to avail ITC, what is the basic condition, my dear friends? The eligibility is what? Sir, you are registered under GST. That is a basic condition. Sir, should we discuss about this? So, if you are going for some shopping or purchasing some laptops or mobile phones or furniture, whatever it is, can you avail ITC? No, because you are not registered. First basic point itself is violated. You are not registered under GST. If you want ITC, the shopkeeper who is selling the goods to you, first he will ask what? Sir, give me your GST number. You will say, sir, I have WhatsApp number, but they don't have GST number. That means you are not registered under GST, so you cannot avail ITC. Fine. So basic point, you should be registered under GST. We are discussing section 16, subsection 1, that is the eligibility to avail ITC. So first condition is you should be registered under GST, right? Second, what is the second one now? The second one is the goods or services, whatever you are purchasing, that should be used for business purpose. Please understand, the second condition is, 1 second. So fine. What is the first condition, my dear friends? You should have been registered under GST to avail ITC. What is the second condition? What is the second condition? Sir, the goods or services purchased by you, you should have used it for business purpose. You should have used it for business purpose. Or you should have had the intention to use it for business. Are you able to understand? That means whatever I am purchasing that is lying in the godown as a stock, can I avail ITC? Can I avail ITC? Yes, I can avail ITC because used or having intention to use for business is sufficient. That means whether you should have used the goods or services now, not required. If you had the intention to use them and still if they are lying in stock also, that is fine. Am I clear? So Write down there, use or intention to use is sufficient. You should have used it for business, or you should have had the intention to use them for business. That is sufficient. Clear? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? So now please understand, because we are registered under GST, whenever we go for shopping, whatever we are purchasing, we'll give the GST number and we want to take ITC. One fine day, like actually a student came for admission, and when he's paying the fees plus GST, he's asking me, sir, I want ITC. I'll give my father's GST number. What you are purchasing, when you will get ITC, that I cannot teach you now. Because you are still yet to take the admission, I cannot take GST class chapter number 6 input tax credit and teach you that you are not eligible for ITC. Yes or no? And generally leave about him also. Whenever you go and purchase some furniture, see, if you have GST number and if you are into business and if you have the GST number, what you will do? You are purchasing air conditioner for your house bedroom. You give the GST number and say, I want ITC. You're purchasing furniture. There are some clients who will purchase washing machine and they want ITC. How do you justify that to the department? You have purchased a washing machine for business purpose. If you are a laundry fellow also, I can justify that. Fine. So that way, please understand, it is not like because you have the GST number, it's not like you can avail ITC. You should have purchased it for business purpose, or you should have intention to use it for business. Clear? Shall we proceed? That is condition number 2. So these are the basic criteria for being eligible to go for ITC. That is section 16, subsection 1, clause A and B. We are done with. Clear? 2 criteria to be met for availing ITC. Fine. Now there is section 16, subsection 2. I already told you there are 4 subsections. Section 16, subsection 1, simple. There are 2 clauses. Clause 1 is saying, clause A is saying you should be registered under GST. Clause B is saying you are purchasing something for what purpose? Business purpose. Use it for business, or have the intention to use it for business. Keep it in your godown. Whenever the production starts, you use it, no problem. So use it for business or have the intention to use it for business. Fine. 16 subsection 2. If you look at 16 subsection 2, so 16 subsection 2, if you look at the subsection 16 subsection 2, what is it talking about, my dear friends? The conditions for taking ITC. What are the conditions? So the first and foremost primary condition is, please understand, you want ITC 1 lakh rupees. You want ITC 1 lakh rupees. What is the proof that you have paid GST 1 lakh on your purchase? You should have some invoice with you, correct? You should possess some invoice with you. Yes or no? So the law says, if you are availing ITC, you please possess some document which is acting as a proof that you have taken that burden of paying tax. Is that clear? That means, please understand, you should be in possession of tax paying document. What is the tax paying document? You call it invoice, you call it as debit note, you call it bill of entry, revised invoice, or any other document issued by input service distributor, anything. You just don't worry about the name of the document. You call it tax invoice or debit note, whatever it is, document issued by input service distributor, anything, some documentary proof. Just remember, some documentary proof. And what is the documentary proof will show? The documentary proof will show how much of tax you paid, what is that you have purchased, what is the value, what is the GST number, what is the place of supply, all this stuff. Simple point, just remember what you should have. You should be in possession of some tax paying document. Clear? Simple condition. Now what happens, see for example, Divakar is doing business and he was honestly not paying tax, and the department issued a notice, demand notice, and he is paying the demand 10 lakhs, let us assume. He paid 10 lakhs demand, he has the notice, he has a documentary proof of 10 lakhs paid, GST paid. Now he wants to avail it as ITC. He paid GST, man. He has a documentary proof, 10 lakhs. Why? Because there was a notice from the department, demand notice. Based on that, he has made the payment and he has a documentary proof for that. Can he avail ITC of the 10 lakhs or not? No, you cannot. You have already cheated the government and government has asked you to pay tax. And now you are saying whatever you have paid, you will avail ITC. Yeah? Then what is the revenue for government? Where is the punishment for you? So please understand, in case of any fraud or willful misstatement or suppression of facts, because of this, if the department demands something from you and the notice has been served and you are making the payment, no, you cannot say, sir, according to section 16, subsection 2, I have a possession of tax paying document, so I will avail ITC. Like this, can you argue? No, the law is very clear. The law is very clear. So, rule 36, sub rule 3 says no ITC of tax paid towards demands involving fraud, willful misstatement, or suppression of facts. Is it clear? Is it clear? Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? Right. Now, I'll come to this discussion later. Let me finish off all these things. Coming to the point. Next one. What is the next condition, my dear friends? What is the next condition? What is the first condition? 16 subsection 2. We will see 4 conditions. Clause A, B, C, D. We are done with clause A. What is that? Possession of documentary
Document.
Second one is you should be in risk. You should have actually received the goods or services. After receiving only you can take ITC. So there should be receipt of goods or services and services, whatever it is. I have placed an order for 1000 kg raw material. Listen carefully, listen carefully. I have placed an order for 1000 kg raw material. The raw material should come from Delhi to Chennai. Invoice raised by the Delhi party. Let us assume 100 lakhs. GST 12 lakhs. I have made the payment 100 lakhs, GST 12 lakhs. He gave me the invoice and he has dispatched the goods from Delhi. So goods are coming from Delhi to Chennai. Now can I avail ITC?
No, sir.
Can I avail ITC?
No, sir.
No. When I can avail ITC?
When we receive the goods and services.
Only when those goods are received by me in my godown in Chennai. Then only I can avail ITC. Is that clear? Is it clear? So same way services also. Just because I have the invoice, I cannot claim ITC. It is like you should have the possession of the tax-paying document. And also the another important condition is you should have actually received the goods or services. Are you able to understand? Now my doubt is, you heard about bill to ship to model.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is bill to ship to model?
Invoice is sent to someone and
received in some other address.
Whenever we are placing something, an order in Amazon, you will be like, you might have come across, there will be something called billing address, something called shipping address. Majority of the cases, our Amazon app, we are purchasing, we will be billing, we will be shipping. But on some special occasions like Feb 14th or whatever, you want to gift somebody, so billing address will be something else, shipping address will be something else, correct?
yes, sir.
Yes or no? So that
Yes,
means billing is to one person, shipping is to another person. That is what we call as bill to ship to model. Now see, I am purchasing raw material in Chennai and I am getting those raw material processed by a job worker somewhere in, let us assume Hyderabad. That fellow in Hyderabad will process the raw material, everything, and send me the finished goods. Then I will put my label, my brand name, and I will sell the goods. Now, whatever raw material I am purchasing from Delhi will come to Chennai. From Chennai, I will send to him to Hyderabad. Yes or no? Instead of so much of nonsense, I can ask directly the Delhi fellow to deliver that to Hyderabad. Why? Because the goods, however, has to cross Hyderabad and come to Chennai. And again, me Chennai to Hyderabad sending the goods. Instead of that, what I can do, I can ask my seller. Are you able to understand? I can ask my seller to directly deliver the goods to some other fellow. Now the doubt is, who is taking the delivery of the goods? Am I taking the delivery?
No, sir.
Can I take ITC?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I take ITC?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So that means you receive goods or services, you take ITC, or on your directions, on the directions of supplier or recipient.
Supply.
Recipient.
Recipient, you are the recipient. On your directions, supplier will deliver it to somebody else. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
On your directions, supplier will deliver the goods to some other person. Then also can you avail ITC? Yes, of course. So the point is simple. I should have actually received the goods or services to avail ITC. Even though I have not received, no problem. On my directions, if the goods or services are delivered to somebody else, still it is fine. I can avail ITC. Is that clear? So that is the point here. Is it clear? Is it clear? The second condition is a clear receipt of goods or services,
Yes, sir.
either by the recipient or write down there. Either by recipient or
Any other person.
by third person. But why third person is receiving? Because of the directions given by
Recipient.
on the directions of recipient. Simple point. Simple point. Now I will discuss a proviso which is connected to this actually. Now one more small doubt is, from Delhi to Chennai, the goods are being dispatched. When I can take ITC? Only when I actually receive the delivery of the goods, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now the doubt is, sir, the goods are dispatched in 10 lorries. So 1000 kg raw material is being transported in 10 different lorries. Let us assume that. In the month of April, I have received the delivery from 7 lorries. Remaining 3 lorries delivery given on May 1st. Now what should I do?
On receipt of lost in lot, we have to take ITC.
For the month of April, can I take proportionately for 7 lorries? For the month of May, can I go
No,
with the
no, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
sorry? So the loss is only after the receipt of last lot or last installment you can avail ITC. So there is a proviso below this section 16 subsection 2. There is a proviso actually. Proviso number 1 below section 16 subsection 2. This proviso says that if the goods are received in lots or installments, when I can avail ITC? I can avail ITC only after the receipt of
Last lot.
last lot or installment. Is that clear? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that is condition number 2. We are discussing conditions for availing ITC. First condition is you should possess the document. Second condition is you should receive the goods or services. And in that we have discussed some complications. Not complications, some extra points. Let us say. See, for example, if it is a build to ship to model also, you can avail ITC. Correct? And what is another thing? Proviso number 1 below section 16 subsection 2 says, if you are receiving goods in lots or installments, only after the receipt of last lot or installment, you can avail ITC. Am I clear? Am I clear? So that is condition number 2. Condition number 2. So condition number 2 is done. What is condition number 3? What is condition number 3? That is clause C. Tax leviable on supply actually paid to government. What does it mean? You people tell me. So here, obviously, you are purchasing something, correct?
Yes, sir.
You are purchasing something from me. Who has the responsibility to pay tax on that to the government?
Supplier.
Supplier. As a recipient, you will have the burden. You will have the burden. But the liability to pay tax to the government is on whom?
Supplier.
Generally supplier. Generally supplier. Correct? So the law says, if the supplier from whom you are purchasing, if that fellow has paid GST to the government on this supply, then only you can avail ITC. That means, sir, I paid GST to my supplier. That stupid fellow didn't file the return and didn't pay tax to the government. Can I not get the ITC?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, of course, you cannot get the ITC. Are you able to understand? Sir, this provision is harsh on the recipient. Na? Yes. Please understand, even though you paid GST to the supplier, your supplier failed to furnish his return and pay tax to the government, you are being punished. You cannot avail ITC. Clear? So please understand, when the law, GST law, new law has been introduced, it is obviously very difficult to understand what has been placed in the law. Right? So immediately when the government imposes such restrictions or conditions, what will happen? Obviously, people will get scared, correct? So what the initial position was, see, how do you know whether supplier has filed his return or not, and whether you can avail ATC or not? Everyone
GST
are
or
aware
2A
of
law.
GST or 2A, I guess, yes or no?
Yes.
You are aware of GST or 2A auto-populated data. So what happens?
Yes,
Let me just explain. Sir, what happens? Your supplier will file what? GSTR1. In GS, what is GSTR1?
Outward supply.
Monthly
Outward
report.
supply.
Statement of outward supplies. That means all his sales he will give to the department in the return. In that says what he will do, he will give your GST number, the invoice date, invoice number, value, tax, everything he will mention. And in his GSTR 3B, what he will do, he will pay the taxes and close it. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Because your GST number is mentioned in his GSTR1. Are you able to understand? For example, I made a sale to Roshni. So Roshni's GST number is mentioning in my GSTR1. If I mention Roshni, which Roshni? Government doesn't know that. The system will recognize only with your GST number. Correct? A GST identification number, yes or no? I will give GSTIN of Roshni and I will give the details. On 17th April, I have sold to Roshni 1 lakh rupees goods. GST 12%, 12,000. Like that, I am giving information. Then immediately what will happen, ma? Roshni is the recipient. If Roshni opens her GSTR 2A for the month of April, there 12,000 ITC will be reflected. That means the purchase she made from Vishnu will be displayed. Yes or no? So initially what happened when the law was, people were filing only GSTR 3B. Later on they came up with GSTR 1. There was no cross-checking of ITC, all that stuff. Then they came up with a concept called GSTR 2A. So supplier will give his sales. For you, it will be auto-populated and you cross-check that, and based on that, you take ITC. But there was no restriction. Now, when law was introduced, everyone was not following this filing of GST returns. Hope you are understanding. When the law was introduced, everybody was not following this GST return filing process. So what happened? Because suppliers were not filing returns, recipients are not getting the 2A, yes or no? So there is some difference. There is some difference in the data. Even though I am eligible for 10 lakhs ITC, if I open my GSTR 2A, it is showing only 8 lakhs. Why? Because the stupid fellows whom I have purchased, those people are not filing their GSTR1. Honest taxpayers. Because of that, I am being suffered, no? So government came up with a relaxation. Government came up with a relaxation saying that whatever is there in 2A, that alone you can take as ITC. Whatever there in 2A, that alone you can take as ITC generally, because of the condition just now you read. But because everyone are not following the law, because it is new one, government came up with a relaxation, 20% variation can be there. That means in your ITC, whatever is being reflected, over and above that, 20% you can claim. If you are eligible, over and above 20% you can claim. Then what they did, That 20% they made to 10%.
10%.
Next to 10% they made to
5.
again 5 they made to
0.
0 from Jan 1st new year offer actually.
Jan 1st, yes.
2022 offer, so it is 0. But for your attempt 5% is still available. Still 5% alone is applicable for your attempt, May attempt. Clear? So that means there can be 5% variation. 5% variation. Now let us see a small example on that 5% variation actually. Look at this illustration one. Look at this illustration one and tell me the answer. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Not your study material, anything. Look at the screen enough. Tell me your answer. So simple. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Listen. You should compare two things. What are those? How much ITC you are actually eligible? How much is reflected in 2A? When it will get reflected in 2A? When your supplier has filed his return. The law says only if your supplier has paid a tax to the government, then you can avail ITC, correct?
Yes,
So,
sir.
if supplier has paid tax to the government, that will be reflected in 2A. So, you see how much you are actually eligible, how much is reflected in 2A. There is difference. Whatever is reflected in 2A, over and above that, you can claim 5%. Over and above that, you can claim 5%. But that cannot exceed your actual eligibility.
Okay, sir.
You are eligible for 10 lakhs. 2A also showing 10 lakhs. Now what you will say, sir, 5% variation is allowed. No, 2A it is reflecting 10 lakhs. I will add 5% and I claim. Is that possible?
No, sir.
No, that is not possible. Clear? You cannot claim more than what you are eligible. You can claim more than what is reflected in 2A. Variation 5% is allowed. But that should not go beyond your actual eligibility.
Okay.
Clear? Based upon that, you please solve this. Will I reveal the answer? So what is the question here, my dear friends? In this, they are saying that total how many invoices?
100 invoices.
Total
100, sir.
yes. How much you are eligible for ITC?
18 invoices, sir.
How much ITC on this 100 lakhs is available for you?
10
6
lakh.
lakhs, sir.
1 second. 100 invoices, correct? 100 invoices. On these 100 invoices, how much GST you paid?
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
10 lakh.
You are eligible for this 10 lakhs ITC, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But how many invoices reflected?
8 invoices, sir.
Reflected only
18
invoices.
80 invoices. What is the ITC reflecting? So we are not worried about how many invoices reflected. We are worried only about the money.
Money.
Or no?
6 lakhs.
6 lakhs.
How much you are eligible?
10 lakhs.
How much is reflected?
6 lakhs.
6 lakhs.
Variation here. Yes. So you can claim extra amount. You normally whatever is reflected in 2A only you can claim, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
You can claim whatever is reflected in 2A alone, you can claim. So in 2A, how much reflected?
6 lakhs.
How much you can claim?
10 lakhs.
6 lakhs.
5% variation is possible. 5% variation is possible. So 6 lakh plus
5%.
5%. 6 lakh 30.
30,000.
how much you are actually eligible?
10
10
lakhs.
lakh.
10 lakhs.
How much you can claim now?
630.
6 lakh 30.
6 lakh 30. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So can I claim 6 lakh 30 now? Yes, it is not going beyond my eligible amount. My eligible is 10 lakhs, ma. But there it is reflecting only 6 lakhs. So the lawmakers are giving me 5% variation is fine. You can claim. So I can
But
get.
3 lakh 70 when they
Sorry.
get it. But 3 lakh 70,000 when they.
3 lakh 70.
Sir, எப்போ அவங்க
That 3 lakh 70 again they will file the returns next month or that next month again. So whenever they file their returns, the suppliers file their return and pay tax to the government. Then again your 2A will get updated. You heard about 2A and 2B?
Yes, sir.
2A is updated on real-time basis. Whenever those stupid suppliers pay the taxes to the government, file their returns, automatically 2A balance will get updated. In future, if they file their returns and pay taxes to the government, this 6 lakhs will get updated. It will become 7 lakh, 7 lakh 50, 8 lakh, 9 lakh like that. That means you should keep on reconciling what is 2A, what is your ITC on regular time intervals, and you should be availing ITC in your 3B.
Any time limit is?
For availing ITC, there is a time limit. We will see in section 16, subsection 4. Clear? So to avoid all these discrepancies, what they did, they came up with a concept called 2B. Now, what is 2B? It is a static document. Every month, 2B is fixed. It will not change. So whatever is reflected in 2B, that alone you can claim from Jan 1st 2022. Whatever is there in GSTR 2B, that alone you can claim. If some invoice is not reflected in your 2B, what you will do, ma?
Then you can't claim.
You cannot take. So what you will do immediately? You will call to the supplier and ask, "Arey, you stupid fellow, you raised invoice on me. I paid GST to you. You have not paid it to the government. It is not reflecting in my 2B. I am not able to claim ITC. If you do like this, I will not do business with you." So that means the recipient will start checking whether supplier has filed his returns or not, whether he is passing on the ITC benefit to him or not, so that the department can relax now. Because the supplier and recipient will keep on fighting on the roads. Department need not worry about whether these people are paying taxes properly or not. Are you able to understand? It is like self-policing. Supplier and recipient will cross-check whether they are paying taxes or not. And nowadays, what happens practically, people are doing business in such a way, you sell the goods to me. I have to make payment to you, correct? Before making payment, what I will do, I will check my 2B, whether ITC is reflected or not. I will ask you first, you file your GST return, then I will make you the payment.
Okay.
That way people are behaving actually. Fine. Is that clear, ma? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Now, the question is actually continued here. So 6 lakh 30 I can claim. Okay. Now look at this illustration too. Same continuation further. Continuation further. Look at illustration 2 now. Look at illustration 2. Similar kind of illustration, but little bit the facts have been changed. That's all. Now give me your answer. What is the answer? So how much ITC you can claim?
10 lakh.
10 lakhs.
How many invoices reflected, ma?
85.
85 or 95?
85, sir.
What is that reflected in 2A? What is the amount reflected in 2A? 9,70,000. Now, what is your actual eligible amount? 10 lakhs. But how much is reflected in 2A? How much is reflected in 2A?
9,70,000.
Can there be any variation?
Yes.
Lesser amount only reflected. So I want the benefit. I want to take the benefit of 5% variation, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So plus 5%. How much is plus 5%, ma?
10 lakh 85.
10 lakh 18,500.
Can I take this as ITC?
Only 10
I'm
lakhs.
eligible, my actual eligible ITC only 10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
But because of the variation, it is going beyond my actual eligibility, correct? Can it go beyond?
No, sir.
Can I claim 10 lakh 80,500?
No, sir.
No. So how much I can claim?
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
I can claim only 10
10
lakhs.
lakhs.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Let's copy this, copy this. Copy this instead of that. Copy this instead of that. Just changes in some facts. So apart from that, everything is same. Mr. Vishnu made purchases for month of October 2021. 100 purchase invoices are there with Vishnu. All those 100 purchase invoices are showing 100 lakhs as eligible ITC. But only if 80 invoices are reflected in 2A, there is 90 lakhs. Let us assume ITC is reflected. How much he can avail? There can be 5% variation, so he can avail 94 lakh 50,000. But if 90 invoices are reflected showing 98 lakhs ITC in 2A, then how much he can claim? He can claim only 100 lakhs because of the variation, your eligible whatever the ITC you are claiming, that cannot go beyond your actual eligible ITC. So that is what related to that another condition, that is condition number 3. If you remember, you will get ITC only if your supplier has paid GST to the government. That will be reflected in your 2A. That will get auto-populated in your 2A. And based upon that, you can avail ITC. But there can be differences in your actual eligible ITC and 2A some cases. Why? Because your suppliers have not filed their GSTR1 and they have not paid tax to the government. So for you, the ITC will not get reflected in 2A. So the law is permitting us that there can be a 5% variation, but you can claim 5% over and above what is reflected in 2A, but it should not be more than what you are actually eligible for. Is that clear? That is what the condition number 3. Fine. Now condition number 4, the last condition under section 16 subsection 2, that is clause D. Clause D. What is that last condition, my dear friends? When you are attending class, please make sure you are focused,
Filing of
not getting deviated around by your family members or anything else. So please make sure you are staying focused. Fine. I can understand that you are staying in home and somebody will be disturbing you. So everyone, please make sure nobody is disturbing you. Fine. So coming to last condition 16 subsection 2, what is the last condition, my dear friends? For you,
Filing
if
of-
you want to avail ITC, for you, if you want to avail ITC, you should also have filed your GST 3B. No? Please understand. Please understand. First, how do we take ITC? Sir, we purchase something. The seller files his GSTR1. So from that, the data comes to your
GST 2A.
exactly GSTR 2A or 2B now, whatever it is. So it will come to your GSTR 2A, let us assume. In GSTR 2A, it will show what is your ITC available. This is what is your ITC available. And please understand, whatever is reflected in 2A, you cannot take it as ITC. Because everything, whatever is reflected in 2A, sometimes you may use it for business, sometimes you may use it for personal purpose. So you know better whether I should avail it as ITC or not. So you already heard about e-credit ledger. Once you log into your GST portal, you have got GST registration. Once you log into the portal, there are 3 ledgers: e-credit ledger, e-cash
E-cash
ledger,
ledger,
and liability.
e-liability ledger.
E-credit ledger is nothing but electronically you are maintaining your ITC account. You are maintaining ITC account in your books of accounts. The same thing you are maintaining electronically. That is what in GST website, that is what called as e-credit ledger. So please understand. Now, if the recipient files GSTR 3B, recipient files GSTR 3B, and in that he will show ITC. He will fill the ITC data. How much CGST, how much SGST, how much IGST. He will fill the amount here. Clear? This amount will go on reflecting e-credit ledger. That means please understand, just because your 2A is showing something as ITC, it doesn't mean that you have took that ITC. Only if you file your GSTR 3B, then it will get credited to your e-credit ledger, and that is the ITC for you. That means what you have to do? What you have to do? Tell me. What you have to do?
First, you want to file GST.
You file your GSTR 3B. That is the last condition. Am I clear? Your supplier should have paid tax to the government, and you should have filed your GSTR 3B. Then only you can avail ITC. Okay. So that is condition number 4. Finally done. Okay. Now, you remember I discussed proviso number 1 below section 16 subsection 2. There are 4 conditions below section 16 subsection 2. Number 1, possess a document. Number 2,
Business
receive the
purpose.
goods, actually receive the goods or services, actually receive them. Number 3, supplier paid tax to government. Number 4, recipient file is written. Clear? Below that subsection 2, there is proviso number 1. What is the proviso number 1? Sir, if the goods are received in lots or installments, only after the receipt of last lot or installment you can pay ITC. There is one more proviso. There is one more proviso. Proviso number 2 below section 16. That is, supplier has supplied goods to you. Recipient has purchased them, received the goods, have the invoice. Can he avail ITC? Can he avail ITC? Yes, if he is satisfying the conditions. Now tell me, if it is a credit sale, supplier will receive consideration after 90 days or something, let us assume. When supplier has to pay GST to the department? After receiving the consideration or before that?
Before the
Before that.
Why?
Time of supply next week.
Exactly. Time of supply. Time of supply will determine when your liability to pay tax shall arise. Correct?
yes.
Time of supply, you have seen the provisions: date of invoice, due date of invoice, date of payment, whichever is earlier.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
If date of invoice is earlier, payment is not yet received, you are still liable to make payment to the government. That's all.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Because of that, supplier will pay tax to the government. Recipient will enjoy ITC benefit.
Yes,
Even
sir.
though it is a credit sale. So the lawmakers are imposing a condition that, my dear recipient, if you have not paid the value and GST, whatever is there in the invoice, to the supplier within 180 days, you should reverse the ITC availed by you, along with the interest 18%. Along with interest 18%. 18% per annum from the date of availing ITC till the date of reversal. Is that clear?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
I have paid part amount and I not paid only part amounts are then proportionately reverse ITC. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now look at this example. See one. Mr. MSD is selling goods to Mr. Virat. Mr. MSD is selling goods to Mr. Virat. What is the value?
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs. What is the GST?
1,80,000.
1,80,000, 18%. Now this is a credit sale, ma. This is a credit sale. So normally what happens? Mr. MSD will pay GST directly to the government, yes or no? 1,80,000.
Yes.
Not supplier obligation. You can understand. What Virat will do? Virat 2A or 2B is reflected. ITC. Virat will enjoy 1,80,000. ITC will claim. Now the loss is Mr. Virat, that value and GST both 11,80,000. You should pay to MSD within how many days?
180 days.
180 days from the date of invoice.
Okay.
180 days from the date of invoice. If he has paid, no problem. If he has paid, no problem. But if he has not paid, what we have to do?
Proportionate ITC reverse share.
So he has to reverse the proportionate ITC along with what? 18% interest per annum from the date of availing ITC till the date of payment. So because of the example here, 11,80,000 should have been paid, correct? If it is not paid, not paid fully, reverse 1,80,000 plus interest 18% per annum.
Yes.
Suppose, assume he has paid only 4 lakhs. This is what very, very important. Listen carefully, listen. Assume he has paid only 4 lakhs. You should have paid 11,80,000. This is value plus GST.
Yes,
How
sir.
much you have paid? How much you have paid?
4 lakh.
4 lakh.
Only 4 lakhs. What is unpaid?
7 lakh.
80,000.
On this, you should reverse ITC. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How much ITC you will reverse?
7 lakh into, like,
Minus 4 lakhs, 2 lakh.
the 7 lakh 80,000 includes ITC, like GST.
You
So,
should
propose for the house.
7,80,000 is unpaid. How much to be reversed?
7,80,000 divided by the total amount of ITC and that means full percentage, sir. If ITC is for 18%,
Tell me the value. Tell me the value.
6,61,016. sir.
How much ITC to be reversed? I want how much ITC to be reversed.
So 7,80,000.
Ignore interest, no problem. Ignore interest.
7,80,000.
7,80,000.
How much ITC to be reversed?
7,80,000.
983.
My dear bloody buffaloes, GST paid itself 1,80,000. GST availed itself 1,80,000. How can you reverse 7,80,000 ITC?
So you are not showing me how we should move, sir.
Divide by
1,80,000.
That is what I'm asking. You tell me how much ITC to be reversed.
1,80,983.
950.
See, you should have paid 11,80,000 completely to the opposite person. But how much you paid? 4 lakhs. How much is not paid? 7,80,000. Is this including GST, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
7,80,000. Yes, total 11,80,000 is value plus GST. Total amount 11,80,000 is value plus GST.
Plus GST.
So these figures, whatever
Like
you
interest
see
concept.
here, these are value plus GST figures, including GST.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what you should do now? How much ITC to be reversed?
1 lakh.
7,80,000 into divided by 118. You want only GST component now to be reversed.
Yes, yes, yes.
So GST component 18% on that is included already. That you go with the reverse calculation and you will get 1,18,950. So 983. Sorry, 983. Along with 18%. Is that clear? Is that clear? So once there was a problem with this particular adjustment actually.
Okay.
Shall we proceed? Is that clear? Have you understood? The law
Yes, sir.
says you pay value plus GST. If the law has said only value, then okay, fine. Law said value plus GST. That means total 118% you should have paid. Proportionately you paid something now. Balance on that proportionately you have to reverse ITC. Is that clear? If you have
Yes,
understood,
sir.
shall we
Yes,
proceed?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Akshata, is that
Yes,
clear?
sir.
So we can apply cross multiplication, sir.
Yes, sir.
Aravind, what is that? Sorry.
Cross multiplication.
What you call technically, I don't know. Forgot mathematics. Come back.
இந்த மாதிரி 11,80,000க்கு 1,80,000 தான் 7,80,000 cross multiply பண்ணும்போது
Okay, yes, I understood. Yeah, correct.
okay sir.
Fine. Shall we proceed? Yes, copy this example. Copy this. Now one more doubt. Yes. So you have not paid this within 180 days. How much you paid within 180 days? Only 4 lakhs. On 181st day, what we will do? We will reverse the ITC. We have to reverse the ITC. We have to pay it back. So now my doubt is, this 7,80,000 is there? No, listen. 7,80,000 is there? No. This 7,80,000. Let us assume I am paying after 240 days.
Okay.
Day 1. What happened on day 1? I avail ITC 1,80,000. Day 181. What happened? I have reversed ITC 1,18,983 along with interest. Day 240. I am paying you the balance amount. Now, can I take that ITC back?
Yes, sir. We can.
Can I re-avail that ITC?
Yes, sir. We can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can re-avail the ITC, but don't talk about interest. Don't ask me about the interest. Only the GST component you re-avail as ITC. Clear? And one more interesting thing is, for re-availing that ITC, no time limit at all. Generally, in section 16, subsection 4, we will talk about the time limit to avail ITC. That time limit is not applicable here. Because here you are not availing ITC. Here you are
Reverse.
Reversing that.
re-availing ITC. You availed ITC, reversed it, and again re-avail.
Okay.
Is that clear? If
Yes.
you are availing for the first time, there is time limit. 16 subsection 4 time limit. You have availed, reversed because of 180 days, and again re-availing. There is no time limit. Is that clear? So it is like for first time marriage, there is age limit. For second time, no. So that is the point. For availing ITC, time limit is there. For re-availing ITC, no time limit. Is that clear? Yes.
Yes, sir.
That is not the point. So let us copy this example. So please copy the example. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Give the heading proviso 2, section 16, subsection 2.
So,
Second proviso below section 16, subsection 2. Copy fast. So that is what section 16, subsection 2. So majority of section 16 is done. Subsection 1, we have seen the eligibility criteria. You should be registered under GST, and also you should be purchasing something to use it for business or with an intention to use it for business. Right. Section 16, subsection 2, we have seen the conditions, right? And the provisos below that. And in that, the second proviso says that the value and GST should have been paid to the supplier within 180 days. Otherwise, you reverse the ITC. If you have paid partly, reverse the proportionate ITC along with interest 18% per annum from the date of availing ITC till the date of actual payment. Fine. Now, this proviso, that is repay that the value plus GST within 180 days, is not applicable in 3 cases. It's not applicable in 3 cases. What are the 3 cases? Now, number 1,
Reverse charge mechanism.
if the supplies are, yes, if the supplies are covered under RCM. See, if the supply is covered under forward charge, who will pay GST to the department?
Supplier.
Supplier will pay GST to the department. So department is protecting the supplier. Recipient, you should pay within 180 days money to the supplier. Clear?
Yes, sir.
But if it is reverse charge mechanism, who is paying GST to the department?
Recipient.
Recipient. So no conditions on recipient. Simple logic. Remember that way. So if it is reverse charge mechanism, who pays GST to the department? The recipient will pay to the department. So now we are not worried about whether you are paying that to supplier within 180 days or not. That condition doesn't apply. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Others, those who have switched on your videos, give me some expression. Divakar, clear? Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Right. Second case, when this proviso doesn't apply. What is the second case?
Supply without consideration.
Supply is made without consideration. You remember schedule 1?
Yes.
activity is to be treated as supply even though done without consideration. Then that activity itself will not have any consideration. And you are asking me to pay within 180 days. What is the logic? Should I pay 0 within 180 days? Huh? Supply itself doesn't have consideration there. What is the consideration? Means 0. Should I repay 0 within 180 days? So for the activities which are treated as supply even though done without consideration, that is as per schedule 1. For those activities, this schedule 1 doesn't apply. Clear? And last situation, when this doesn't apply, na, you remember value of supply inclusions. What are the inclusions? Number 1,
Yes, sir.
taxes other than GST and TCS.
TCS, the income tax. Number 2, incidental expenses.
Incidental expenses.
Incidental
Incidental
expenses.
expenses are deal with next. Number 3, subsidies.
Payment.
Subsidies from
Number 4, interest late fee penalty. I'm not worried about. What is the last one?
Third party payment which is made by the
Okay.
Payment made to third party. Whose obligation it is?
suppliers.
suppliers.
Who is discharging?
Recipient.
Recipient.
You are adding it to the value of supply.
Yes, sir.
Why you are adding it? Because it has been already paid up to third party.
Yes, sir.
Now should I again pay that within 180 days to supplier?
No.
Not required. That means for that component alone, whatever the payment made to third parties which has been added to the value of supply, for that component alone, that 180 days time limit is not applicable.
Okay.
Am I clear? Am I
Yes,
clear?
sir.
So that is what section 16 subsection 2. Right? So fine, we are done with section 16 subsection 2. Hope you all are clear with that, right? So let us proceed with the next subsection, section 16 subsection 3, a very small subsection. Section 16 subsection 3 is all about ITC versus depreciation. Not ITC versus depreciation, no, ITC versus depreciation.
Okay,
What
sir.
is ITC versus depreciation? See, please understand. Generally, when you purchase an asset, what you will do? You will capitalize the asset, correct?
Yes.
So we are not worried about here capitalizing the asset cost. We are worried about what to do with the GST component. You purchase an asset, let us assume worth rupees 100 lakhs. GST paid 12 lakhs. 100 lakhs, what has been paid? What has been paid? Value of the asset, we are going to record it as cost. And on that, we will avail depreciation, that is fine. But what about this GST component of 12 lakhs? Then section 16 subsection 3 says, "Arey, you don't record it as a cost, you avail it as ITC because it is purchased for the purpose of business. You can avail ITC, so GST component you avail ITC. That is option number 1 for you. That means what you will do now? What you will do now? You will record the asset for 100 lakhs, for 12 lakhs. Clear? Or you have another option. You have another option. What is that another option? Total cost, whatever is there. Total cost, whatever is there. Total cost, whatever is there. The cost of the asset and ITC both, the GST both. You record it as cost of the asset. 112 lakhs. How much ITC you are claiming now? How much ITC you are claiming now? 0. Total GST component also you add it to the cost, and on the total value you claim depreciation. That means if you observe properly here, the GST paid, either you record separately as ITC, claim ITC benefit, or what you are doing, add it to the cost of the asset and claim depreciation. But don't claim both the benefits at a time. Is it clear? Is it clear? When you are in class, please focus in the class, or else don't attend the class. Simple. Fine. So please understand, GST paid on capital goods. Either you take it as ITC, or what you have to do, you add it to the cost of the asset and claim depreciation, but not both the benefits at a time. That is what section 16 subsection 3. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? Nothing to copy, don't worry, not that greatly important. Shall we proceed? Next, the last subsection of Section 16, subsection 4, time limit to avail ITC. Very, very important. What is the time limit to avail ITC? What is the time limit to avail ITC? See now, please understand. What is this all about now? Sir, I am purchasing something, sir. I am purchasing a goods or service, whatever it is, let us understand. When I purchase something, I paid GST on that. And I should have availed ITC. How I should have availed ITC? By filing my GSTR 3B properly, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let us assume I forgot. See, Mr. Thala registered under GST. So he is making a purchase, let us say, on 7th July 2020. Invoice number 183, value is 1 lakh, GST 18%, 18,000. When he is filing his July month GSTR 3B, he should have availed ITC, correct? He forgot. What he can do? Next month 3B, he can take ITC. He forgot. Next month 3B. That next month also he forgot. Next. That next month. Sir, is there any time limit for that? That means if I forget to take ITC on any of my purchase, can I take ITC in a later month or that later month or that later month? Means yes. But is there any deadline for that? Means there is a deadline under section 16 subsection 4. The deadline is due date of filing September month GSTR 3B of the succeeding financial year or actual date of filing annual return of the relevant financial year, whichever is earlier. That means you are taking ITC on an invoice. That invoice belongs to a financial year. For that financial year, whatever the invoices are there, purchase invoices, you should have availed ITC in that particular year only, in that particular month only, respective 3Bs. If you forget, no problem, you can avail ITC, but the deadline is that financial year's next succeeding financial year is there, no. In the succeeding financial year, there is a September month. For that September month, what is the due date for filing GSTR 3B?
20th, October 20th.
October 20th. Clear? Or what is the financial year for which you are worried about your ITC? That financial year's annual return when you are actually filing. You compare these two dates, whichever is earlier before that. Clear? Now tell me, here this invoice belongs to which financial year? No? 2021 financial year.
Yes, sir.
So what is the time limit? 20th October in the succeeding financial year. That is 20th October 2021. Or actual date of filing annual return for which financial year?
2021.
Financial year. Financial year 2021 annual return when you are filing. Let us assume I am filing on 18th August 2021.
Okay.
So you should compare first date is due date. You are comparing a due date. What you are comparing is actual date, not due date. You understand? So due date of filing September month return of the succeeding financial year or actual date of filing annual return of the 11, whichever is earlier. Is it clear? So in this case, what is the financial year? 2021. For 2021 financial year, all the invoices for 2021 financial year, all the invoices you would have availed ITC. You would have availed ITC. So if you missed out anything, any invoice, next financial year 21-22, you will get a September month, no? September 2021. For that, what is the due date? 20th October 2021. You compare that or compare the actual date of filing annual return for financial year 2021. Please understand, this is always constant, 20th October. This keeps changing. Yes or no? So you compare both, whichever is earlier. Before that, you should have availed ITC. After that, even though you have all the documents even though it is reflecting in your 2A, you cannot avail it. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Sir, can you repeat, sir?
First copy this example. First copy this example. While copying, please try to understand what has been discussed there, and I'll explain one more time. So please keep copying. Those who have not understood, please listen carefully again. Here, Mr. Tala has registered under GST and he is purchasing something. On that invoice, he forgot to take ITC. So now he is worried about like what is the last date to take ITC on that invoice. So what we should say, this invoice belongs to which financial year? That next financial year, 20th October, or this invoice belongs to a particular financial year? No. For that financial year, when you are filing annual return, that actual date of filing annual return, both dates you compare. Both dates you compare. Whichever is earlier, before that, on this invoice, he should have availed ITC. He has not availed ITC, that's all. Govinda, Govinda. Even though he has documentary evidence, even though it is reflecting in 2A, he cannot take it as ITC. Copy fast, copy fast. So we are done with section 16. Let us move on to, as our agenda, as I already told you, section 16 will discuss completely, and we'll move on to section 17 subsection 5. So 17 subsection 5 is all about blocked credits. So section 17 says that subsection 1, 2 will talk about if you are purchasing something for business and non-business purpose, you can avail ITC on only what is proportionately belonging to business purpose. If you are purchasing something using it for taxable as well as exempt goods, then proportionately you can take ITC only which is belonging to taxable portion. Is that clear? That means simple, I am purchasing something and selling something. Whatever is my sale, if it is exempt from GST, if it is exempt from GST, or if it is not taxable, on my purchases, I cannot avail ITC. Is that clear? So please understand, if I am purchasing something and what is that I am selling? I am selling is something which is exempt or something which is non-taxable. Can I take ITC? No. Let us assume I am running a bar and restaurant. Bar and restaurant. So ground floor bar, first floor restaurant, let us assume. In bar, we will sell alcoholic liquor, which is not taxable under GST. In restaurant, we will supply the food and beverages, which is taxable under GST. For ground floor, if I purchase furniture, can I take ITC? For the bar, if I purchase furniture, can I take ITC?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No, because bar, what I'm doing, I'm making a non-taxable supplies in bar. So whatever I purchase for bar, I cannot take ITC. But for restaurant, if I purchase anything, I can take ITC. Is that clear? Yes. That is what the concept of section 17, subsection 1 and 2. Let us move on to subsection 5, section 17, subsection 5. Fine. So let us proceed with section 17, subsection 5. So what is section 17, subsection 5? What is 17, subsection 5?
Blocked credits
Blocked credits. What do you mean by blocked credits?
on which ITC is not available.
You are purchasing something, you are using it for business, you are satisfying all the conditions given in section 16, still you cannot avail it. That means, sir, no matter what is the purpose, no matter who you are, what you are, whether you are satisfying the conditions or not, all this stuff, still, I will not give you ITC. Even though you are using it for business, even though you are registered under GST, even though you are satisfying all the conditions as per section 16, 17, etc., wherever the conditions are prescribed. So all the conditions for ITC you are satisfying, but still, what is that you are purchasing? You are purchasing something which is mentioned in section 17 subsection 5. Then you cannot take ITC. That means in section 17 subsection 5, they have given some list of goods and services. If you purchase them, straight away you cannot take ITC. Even though you use it for business, even though you are registered under GST, even though you are satisfying all other conditions. Am I clear? Shall we proceed? Right. Let us see one by one. So section 17 subsection 5 is all about some type of purchases and their exceptions. In 17 subsection 5 also there are exceptions. That means what 17 subsection 5 will say you cannot take ITC. Again there are exceptions to that. That means what you can take ITC. Clear? So very important section as well as the subsection. You should remember subsection number also. Very important, not only for your exam, for your practice. Right. So let us proceed. Now, please understand what are the items on which I cannot take ITC. What are the purchases on which I cannot take ITC? First item. What is that? My first one. Motor vehicles for the purpose of transportation of persons, not goods, persons. So, motor vehicles which are for the purpose of transporting passengers with a seating capacity. What should be the seating capacity? What is the seating capacity?
Less than or equal to 13.
13%, not more than
Less
13%.
than or equal to 13. It is less than or equal to 13. The seating capacity is less than or equal to 13, including driver. Example, car. They are mentioning something here. They are mentioning something in section 17, subsection 5. That means you cannot take ITC. Simple. You cannot take ITC on that. Clear? So, please understand. Can I say bike covered here? I cannot take ITC. Car covered here? Yes, I cannot take ITC. So, that means, please understand, there is a company purchasing a car, a private limited company purchasing a car for its MD, for the transportation purpose of its MD, for the use of MD of the company. For business purpose, you want to just meet the clients, talk with the clients, all this stuff. So the company is arranging a vehicle for the MD. So the company is purchasing a car for the purpose of usage by MD for business purpose. Can they avail ITC?
No.
They cannot avail ITC. They cannot avail ITC. Hope it is clear. So what are ineligible for ITC here? What is blocked? The credit on what is blocked here? Motor vehicles.
Motor vehicle
Which are for the purpose of transporting.
persons
Yes, persons with a seating capacity.
less than or equal to 13, including driver.
It's less than or equal to 13, including driver. Hope it is clear for everyone. Examples: can we take a two-wheeler bike?
Two-wheeler bike and
or any other vehicle with less than or equal to 13 seating capacity. Clear up?
yes.
Yes. So now, from now, we will call them as ineligible motor vehicles. Ineligible motor vehicles. So, please understand. Please understand. There is a definition given here for the motor vehicles and other conveyances related to whether they are eligible or not. Please understand here. What did they say? Motor vehicle means what is that they are excluding? They are excluding something from motor vehicle. Please understand, listen carefully. Motor vehicles, you cannot take ITC, correct? If the motor vehicle is for transporting the passengers. If I purchase a lorry, can I take ITC? If I purchase a lorry,
Yes, sir.
can I take ITC?
Yes,
Transport
sir.
income. Yes, sir.
But don't say
Transportation of
that,
goods.
sir, in my hometown or in my village, they will use lorry for transporting the passengers, so I will disallow ITC like that. Please don't think. Lorry is designed for what purpose? Transporting passengers or goods are?
Goods.
What is disallowed here? What is ineligible here? Motor
Yes,
vehicles
sir.
are designed for transporting persons.
Yes,
Is that clear? Shall we proceed?
yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
lorries, yes, you can take ITC. Fine. Okay. Now that means the doubt is, sir, what do you mean by a motor vehicle? Any vehicle which runs with a motor. Excluding. Excluding what? Vehicles running upon fixed rails. That means the rail, coaches, trains, wagons, all this stuff. Anything which runs on fixed rail, the rail track, that is not a motor vehicle. That is not a motor vehicle. Indian Railways purchasing a wagon, the railway wagons or coaches, whatever you call them. Can Indian Railways take ITC? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Because that is not a motor vehicle. That is not a motor vehicle. Next, one more interesting thing is special purpose vehicles for being used in a factory or any enclosed premises. You will be seeing certain vehicles in some factories. They are exclusively to be used within the factory. Best example, we can take airport. Within the airport, you will see so many vehicles which are specifically designed to use in the airport. Will they use those vehicles outside the airport?
No.
Are you able to understand? That
Sir.
means
Yes, sir.
that is excluded from motor vehicle definition. Are you able to understand?
Yes,
Excluded
sir.
from motor vehicle definition. That means it is given in 17 subsection 5 or not given in 17 subsection 5 or
Not there in 17 subsection.
not given in section 17 subsection 5. Can they take ITC?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next one. Vehicles with less than 4 wheels. Now immediately we'll think about the scooty, bike, all that stuff. Vehicles with less than 4 wheels and with an engine capacity up to 25 cc. Nowadays, scooty also will come with 100 cc, 110 cc, and now 125 cc. So the point is, anything less than 4 wheels and also engine capacity up to 25 cc only covered here. You see, normally in railway stations and all, a small vehicle kind of thing they want to use for transporting some passengers or anybody. So any such type of things, let us assume. So any motor vehicle with less than 4 wheels and up to 25 cc engine capacity is also not a motor vehicle. If you purchase that, you can happily take ITC. That means here these things are eligible for ITC. Are you able to understand? These things are very much eligible for availing ITC. Now tell me, normal bikes or any scooty covered here in motor vehicle exclusions law. Motor
No,
vehicle
sir.
exclusions, it is not covered. That means it is covered in
17
motor
subsection.
vehicle. That is covered in motor vehicle definition. That means it is covered in 17 subsection 5. That means
ITC is not available.
ITC is blocked. Here, ma, no confusions, right? No confusions, right? Page number 6.30, 6.30. So if you purchase these things, these are not motor vehicles. These are not
Motor vehicles.
vehicles. So happily you can take ITC. Understand? But if you purchase a motor vehicle, are designed to carry passengers with a seating capacity less than or equal to 13, you cannot take it. Please copy this, please copy this, write down there, give a flower bracket with the 3 points and write down can avail ITC. So that means their normal bikes and scooties are not covered, so ITC is blocked. So they are very much motor vehicles, they are very much motor vehicles.
Sir, electric vehicles.
They are also like running with motor, no? Motor vehicle is nothing but a vehicle which runs with a motor, simple. The engine capacity, all the stuff is mattering here, and whether they are designed to transport goods or passengers also plays a key role. Here it is not about whether it runs with petrol, diesel or electricity.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes. So can I call that motor vehicles which are designed to transport passengers with less than 13 seating capacity are ineligible for ITC?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Now, for that there are exceptions again. For that there are exceptions again. What are the exceptions means? Please understand. First, copy this one. In your study material, copy this. What is the general rule? Passenger vehicle less than or equal to 13 passenger seating capacity purchased. Can you take ITC? No. Even if you purchase them, no ITC. Sir, I am purchasing a bus with a greater than 13 seating capacity, sir. Company purchasing a bus to transport the employees. Can they take ITC?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Obviously, yes. Same company purchasing car for transporting the CEO.
No, sir.
No, sir. Sir, taxi services, sir.
They are eligible.
Yes, right. I'm yet to finish that. We'll discuss. So as I told, there are exceptions within 17 subsection 5. Yes or no? 17 subsection 5 says you cannot avail ITC on these things. But there are exceptions again within that. That means you can avail ITC. So the exceptions to this rule is, there are 3 exceptions. See, anybody who is engaged in making further taxable supply of such motor vehicles. What does it mean? You are engaged in making further supply of such motor vehicles. What does it mean?
Selling those motor
Buying and
vehicles.
selling. Buying and selling.
Yes, buying and selling. You are a dealer in cars. You are a dealer in bikes. You are engaged in further supply of such motor vehicle.
Second-hand vehicle, sir.
Whatever it is, whether it is second hand or first hand, it doesn't matter. You are into buying and selling of the motor vehicles. You can happily avail ITC. Clear? So the law says you are engaged in further supply of such motor vehicles, you can avail ITC. Hope it is clear. Shall we proceed? Shall we proceed? So, example, you are a Audi dealer. Ashish is an Audi dealer, Audi car dealer. Now, please tell me, like, if he purchases the cars from Audi company, can he avail ITC? Yes, because he is into further supply of such Audi cars. Let us assume Vivard Private Limited, Vishnuvardhan Private Limited, my shortcut. Vivard Private Limited company is purchasing an Audi car for its CEO, Mr. Vishnuvardhan. Can they take ITC?
No,
Sorry,
sir.
no.
No, sir.
So the story is, if you are into further supply of such motor vehicles, you can take ITC. What is the next exception? What is the next exception? You are into the business of making taxable supply of transportation of passengers. So you are into further supply of transportation of passengers. So you are having a travel agency, you are a tour operator, whatever it is. So you are into travels business. Then you can happily take ITC. Next, what is the next exception? What is the next exception? Making taxable supply of imparting training on driving such motor vehicles. Let us assume our Divakar is having a Divakar scooty driving school. So he will teach only to drive a scooty, that too only for girls. So exclusive driving school for girls, and he will be like teaching how to drive a scooty. Now Divakar purchasing scooty for that. Can he take ITC? Yes. Is it clear? Shall we proceed?
Yes.
Same case, for example, our Akshata, a chartered accountant in practice. She is registered under GST. She is purchasing a scooty for traveling from her home to office or office to client's place, all the stuff. Can she take ITC? No. Simple. Is it clear? So 3 exceptions. Simple. 3 exceptions. What are the 3 exceptions? Number one.
Further supply of same motor vehicle.
You are into further supply of such motor vehicles. Next, number 2.
Transportation.
Number 3.
Starting training on driving.
Simple driving school. Yeah. So that is what the point. So who can avail ITC? Who can avail ITC? A dealer of that particular vehicles. Next, travel business. Next, scooty driving school. Am I clear? Am I clear?
Transportation of goods.
Transportation of goods, obviously, that is not an ineligible motor vehicle for us. Even though they say that in exception or not, it doesn't matter to us. Why? Because what did they tell? Ineligible. They said ineligible is such motor vehicle which is for transporting
Passengers.
So obviously, any vehicle you purchase for transporting goods is eligible for ITC. We did not discuss about that also. Clear? That is why I give you an example. If you purchase a lorry, can you take ITC or not? Yes.
Yes.
Right.
In the same question, sir,
Vilma?
for the same question, if you
So let us proceed. That is what first point. So what is that, my dear friends? Section 17, subsection 5 says, if you are purchasing motor vehicles which are designed for. So transportation of persons seating capacity less than or equal to 13, you cannot avail ITC. But if you are into business of further supply of such motor vehicles or driving school or transporting passengers, because the vehicle is what designed for transporting passengers, and if you are into business of transporting passengers, you can avail ITC. Anybody else cannot take ITC, that we have seen. Even though they are purchasing it for business purpose, still they cannot avail ITC. That is what we have seen. Fine. Now you are talking about only motor vehicles, no sir. What about vessels and aircrafts? Same story. If you are purchasing a vessel, let us assume you have a company in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So you are purchasing a vessel. Let us assume, just hypothetical situation, you are purchasing a vessel for the CEO of the company. What you do? Can you avail ITC? No. So same way, let us assume Vivard Private Limited is purchasing a chartered flight for its CEO, Mr. Vishnuvardhan. Can the company take ITC?
No, sir.
No. Because it is Vishnu, sir, you will say no straight away. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Right. So vessels and aircrafts also same logic. You cannot avail ITC. Even though you are purchasing it for business, even though you are satisfying all the conditions, no ITC. Clear? But again, there are exceptions. What are the exceptions? Same story again. You are into further supply of such vessels or aircraft. Let us assume you are a dealer in ships, vessels, aircrafts. You can take ITC. Or if you are into supply of
Transportation of
passengers, let us
passengers.
assume you are Kingfisher Airlines. You are having Kingfisher Airlines. You are purchasing the aircraft. You can avail ATC. SpiceJet Airlines purchasing an aircraft can avail ATC because they are using them for transporting passengers.
Yes.
Next, what is that? Your business. Now, our Divakar from scooty driving school, he has upgraded himself. Starting any navigating or flying schools. Navigating school for what? Training you in navigating the vessel, or flying school, training you how to fly the aircraft. Let us assume there is Vijay Mallya Aviation School purchasing an aircraft. Can he take ITC? Can the company take ITC? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Same examples. Same exceptions. Here, one more addition is what? Transporting the goods. See, for vessels and aircraft specifically, they have made an exception. So identified properly. In the first case, motor vehicles, they didn't mention this exception, transportation of goods. Specifically for vessels and aircraft, they have mentioned if you are purchasing a vessel or aircraft and using them for transporting the goods, then you can take ITC. For example, if you see FedEx company purchasing an aircraft for transporting goods, they can take ITC. Is it clear? Just scribble these examples in the study material. So generally, what if I purchase vessel or aircraft, I cannot take ITC. But if I am purchasing that for further supply of same vessels or aircrafts, I can take ITC. Example, if you are a dealer in vessels or aircrafts, or if you are into business of transporting the passengers, example, it's SpiceJet Airlines, Kingfisher Airlines, Jet Airways, anybody, these people purchasing the aircrafts or vessels for transporting passengers can avail ITC. Or if you are purchasing a vessel or aircraft for training the people in navigating or flying such vessels or aircrafts respectively, then you can avail ITC. Or if you are purchasing the vessel or aircraft for transporting the goods, then you can avail ITC. Hope it is clear. So 2 points. First 2 points is all about almost the same thing: motor vehicles, vessels, and aircrafts. Motor vehicles, vessels, and aircraft. Done, guys? Okay. So this is FedEx company purchasing an aircraft for transportation of goods. Right. So that is what first two entries. Now, first two entries, what did we discuss? We discussed about motor vehicles for carrying passengers less than or equal to 13 seating capacity, vessels and aircrafts, correct? All these three put together, let us understand like ineligible conveyances. For our easy understanding, let us refer them as ineligible conveyances. Now tell me, if you purchase this ineligible conveyance, can you take ITC? No. But there are exceptions. Who can avail ITC on ineligible conveyances also? We have seen, correct? Now the interesting part is, please understand, you have ineligible conveyances with you. What are ineligible conveyances? What are ineligible conveyances, my dear friends? Number one, motor vehicles carrying passengers less than or equal to 13 seating capacity. Number two, vessels. Number three, aircraft. If you purchase them, you cannot take ITC. And on them, whatever ineligible conveyance is there, on them, if you take general insurance, if you take servicing, if you do repair and maintenance, you cannot take it. There are three things here. Please understand. You purchased an ineligible conveyance, you cannot take ITC. And on that ineligible conveyance, you will take insurance, obviously. You will take insurance on vehicles, insurance for the aircraft. You will take servicing for them from the companies, or you will take some repairs and maintenance activity on them. That's also ineligible for ITC. Please understand, this concept is not only important for your exam, this is important for your practice. Right. So this is also ineligible for ITC. But there are exceptions. What are the exceptions? Number one, you are a manufacturer of such vehicles, conveyances. You are the manufacturer of ineligible conveyances. You can take ITC. Or you are into general insurance business. You can avail ITC. So who can avail ITC, ma? Who can avail ITC? Manufacturer of such ineligible conveyances. For manufacturer, that is stock, yes or no?
Yes.
Sure. On stock, normally you take insurance. Yes, you can take ITC. Or if you are into general insurance business, you can take ITC. You heard about reinsurance? Provide insurance to customer, and from somebody else you take insurance on the same thing. So part of the business will be reinsured. Accounts, I think in group 2 they will insurance companies, accounting for insurance companies, all this stuff. I think we covered there.
Yes, sir.
Right. So no issues. Leave about that. Simply understand. If you are a manufacturer of ineligible conveyances, or if you are into general insurance business, you can take ITC.
Okay.
If it is not ineligible conveyance, then it is not ineligible conveyance. Then
IT is available, sir.
It is available.
it is available or not?
Available, sir.
Available. Are you able to understand? Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
That means SpiceJet Airlines purchasing aircraft. Can they take ITC or not?
Yes, they can.
Are you listening? I'm typing something. No, you can ask later. First, follow the flow. Okay. So,
Sir, there is
listen. Yes, I understood. Listen. SpiceJet Airlines purchasing, leave SpiceJet. Vivarth Private Limited purchasing aircraft for the CEO. Can take ITC or not?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Vivarth Private Limited taking general insurance on that aircraft. Can take ITC?
No, sir.
Because for Wizard Private Limited, it is ineligible conveyance. Simple. SpiceJet Airlines is purchasing an aircraft. Can they take ITC on the purchase of aircraft?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
SpiceJet Airlines is taking servicing activities on the aircraft. Can they take ITC?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
General insurance,
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
repairs and maintenance, yes, because that is not ineligible conveyance for SpiceJet Airlines. They purchase that, they can take ITC. If they take general insurance on that, take ITC. Servicing on that, take ITC. Repairs and maintenance on that, take ITC. Hope it is clear. Shall we proceed? So that is entry number 3 there.
Sir, whether reinsurance can be ITC available, sir?
So now listen, what is the 4th segment now in this? This is also related to the same ineligible conveyances. Let us assume River Private Limited has purchased an aircraft for its CEO, as I said in the. Can they take ITC? Can they take ITC? No. Now, sir, the CEO of the company, Mr. Vishnuvardhan, will not be traveling 365 days around the globe in the aircraft. So it will be idle, correct? Let us assume for the next coming elections, during 2024 elections, our Honorable Prime Minister took my aircraft for election campaign. So we are leasing the aircraft. The company is leasing the aircraft to somebody. Let us assume to somebody we are leasing the aircraft. On that we are taking the lease rent as well as GST. Can the recipient take ITC? No, recipient cannot take ITC because this aircraft is ineligible conveyance as per section 17 subsection 5.
Yes, sir.
Who purchased this aircraft? We were the private limited for its CEO. We were the private limited can take ITC on that? No. So this ineligible conveyance as per our discussion so long. If that ineligible conveyance you give for lease or
Lease or-
hire or rent, whatever you call, the recipient cannot take ITC.
It is.
Suppose in the same example, our Prime Minister is not taking the aircraft for lease from me. He is taking the aircraft for lease from SpiceJet Airlines, let us assume. Then
Yes,
He
sir.
can take.
Eligible.
recipient will take ITC. Recipient will get ITC. Because that aircraft is not ineligible conveyance. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So simple, same, just like the above entry, general insurance, servicing, repairs and maintenance. Same way, if you are leasing or renting or hiring an ineligible conveyance, the recipient cannot take ITC. Am I clear?
So
Yes,
the
sir.
supplier need not collect the GST, right?
Because you cannot claim ITC, the supplier will not collect GST. Yeah? You are going and purchasing a lace packet, 5 rupees. It is inclusive of GST. Yeah? Are you taking ITC on that? So that you will say, I will not pay GST. Yeah?
So if you are renting it to PM Modi and he is why will he pay GST to you? If
Because I am providing services, I will charge GST from him.
you are taking
It is
it for
supply. It is a supply paid by Vishnu Vivar Private Limited company leasing an aircraft. So that because it is a supply, I will add supply charges plus GST.
you are adding service charges. Okay.
Right. So the point is, when you provide a service or you provide some goods, you will add GST when it fits within the meaning of supply. Here I am leasing or renting or hiring an aircraft, which is obviously a supply. So GST is applicable. I am charging GST from the other political party. They cannot take ITC because this is ineligible conveyance. Clear? Shall we proceed? Right. But there are exceptions here. But there are exceptions again. What are the exceptions? What is exception number 1 here, my dear friends?
Mixed supply.
Other supply of the same services.
You are into the customer. I am talking about the customer, the recipient. The recipient is into what? The services are used for making outward taxable supply of same
Same
category of services. I am renting out or leasing the aircraft to BJP. BJP cannot take ITC.
Yes, sir.
I am renting the aircraft to Prashant Kishore, IPAC. So IPAC is renting it to BJP. So IPAC is my recipient, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
They can take ITC. Why?
Yes, sir.
They are taking
They are the same service.
They are also providing what? Leasing of
Yes.
aircraft. If you are into same business, if you are into leasing of aircrafts or vessels, and I am leasing my ineligible conveyance aircraft to you, what you are doing that you are not using that aircraft for your purpose. You are again renting it to somebody else. So you can take ITC. This exception is quite common in the upcoming entries. Please understand. Generally, they will say you cannot take ITC. Recipient cannot take ITC. When recipient can take ITC? Recipient is also doing the same activity. What is he purchasing? The same thing he is selling.
What about the end consumer, sir?
Sorry?
What about the end consumer?
End consumer. End consumer can avail ITC obviously because there is a mediator.
So if we sell also, he cannot avail ITC.
Why we are talking about selling? Here it is about leasing. What is given here only disallowed from ITC. What is not given here can enjoy ITC. Here we are not talking about selling them, no. See, please understand, don't get confused. Entry 1 and 2 you spoke about purchase and sale. Their exceptions covered. Here you are talking about only leasing part. Clear? Fine. So the leasing part, what is happening? You are leasing ineligible conveyance. You are leasing ineligible conveyance. Recipient cannot take ITC. But the recipient is also into leasing the conveyance. Then he can take ITC. Is that clear? Fine. What is the second exception? What is the second exception?
To employee under statutory.
When the leasing or rental is
By
taken,
employer to employee under a statutory obligation. Again, this is the regular exception which we see in upcoming entries. Who is providing leasing of an ineligible conveyance? Employer. To whom? Employee. Why are they providing?
because government
Because statutory obligation. Some law says company should rent an aircraft to CEO. Let us assume. Then they can take ITC. The recipient can take ITC. Is that clear? If you are providing it as a statutory obligation. See this point wherever they thought like putting it in, like they have just made it as an exception in almost each and every entry. I don't know whether lawmakers have realized the importance or not. In all the transactions, upcoming transactions, they have placed this point exception. What is that? Provided by employer to employee as a part of statutory obligation. Which statute will say you have to lease a vessel or aircraft to your employee? Next upcoming entries, you will see some statutory obligation. Membership fee of a club, if provided by employer to employee as a part of statutory obligation. Which statute will ask the employer to give a membership of a club to the employees? I have never seen such statutes. If you come across anything, please let me know in future. Fine. So coming to the point, what is that? The leasing or renting or hiring of ineligible conveyances, recipient cannot take ITC. But if the recipient is also into the same line of business, can take ITC. Or if the recipient is nothing but the employee, service provider is the employer, why they are doing this as a part of statutory obligation, the recipient can claim ITC. Clear? Shall we proceed? Yes. So that is 4. Next, let us move on to the next segment. Is it clear? Is it clear? Right. So the next segment, food and beverages, all this stuff. Fine. So we'll continue that in tomorrow's lecture. Is that fine? So please make sure whatever we have discussed today, please do revise. Clear? And your homework is today just look at these examples in the study material. Whatever the examples are there, please go through. Please revise the theory part. Tomorrow we'll finish chapter 6 and we'll also start doing some problems from chapter 6. Is it clear, my dear friends?
Okay.
Fine. So see you all in tomorrow's lecture. Till then, this is your CA Vishnuvardhan signing off. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.